What's up, lovers of whiskey and watchers of YouTube? I am the Malt activist and I am back with a list. Oh God, we love lists. And this is a fantastic one. These are my top 10 10-year-old whiskeys ranked by price. What's up and welcome to the channel. If you don't know who I am the Malt activist and I do stuff that is good for you. That's right, which means I do lists and tell you what you can buy at a good price. How does that sound? I basically put money in your pocket. Essentially, that's what I do. So our video today is 10 whiskeys that are 10 years old and I will rank them by price. Now, I had only two criteria for making this list. Number one, they should be 10 years old. Also easily available, right? And number two, I should have tasted them at least once to form an opinion, because honesty is paramount in this channel, right? Awesome. And you know what? I think this would serve as a great guide for someone who's just getting into the whiskey world, who's looking for, whiskeys to spend their hard-earned money on. And the whiskeys that I've chosen, of the 10, I think 7 are more or less entry-level whiskeys, which means you get really, really good value for money. And on top of that, you get very, very delicious liquid. So all the 10 whiskeys on my list, cracking drams, 7 of them at a very good entry-level price. So you good value for money, good juice. What else do you want? Come on. So if you like this content and you're not subscribed, man, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell icon, so next time I post a video, you know all about it. How does that sound? I think that sounds awesome. Okay, without further ado, let's move on to whiskey number 1. Right, so my first whiskey on this list is the classic Glenmorangie 10, or now known as the Glenmorangie Original, which means it's the original 10-year-old that came out from Glenmorangie, on top of which they've built other whiskeys like the La Santa or the Quinta Ruban or the Nectador. But the Glenmorangie 10 is the original gangster, if you know what I mean. So, what do we know about this whiskey? Well, I know this whiskey is 10 years old, all right? It's matured in first and second fill white American oak. It's bottled at a bare minimum 40% ABV. So not bad, qualifies as a whiskey. I think we're good with that. So nice, easy, gentle maturation. It costs roughly 37 pounds. Depends where you look for it, but the general price that I've sort of managed to get is roughly 37 pounds across various online retailers. So not a bad price for a 10-year-old whiskey, which is delicious. And now the tasting notes. Right, so I have them in front of me. We have lemon, we have nectarines, we have apples, we have lots of spices, and we have that hint of vanilla, some boiled sweets, toffee, and in the end, it's quite nice and malty as well. So very quintessential bourbon matured flavors, very easy to drink, quite floral as well. I love this whiskey. It's an easy drinking whiskey. It's something that you can start your evening with and not regret it. It's one of those whiskeys that you buy multiple bottles of, because quality is so good, price is fantastic, and damn, those flavors. So yeah, so my first whiskey on this list, the cheapest one by the way, is the Glenmorangie 10. So if you haven't tried it and it's not on your shelf, head out, get yourself one. What are you waiting for? My second whiskey on this list is a distillery that I am becoming increasingly infatuated with. They're doing some fantastic work. It's surprising, such a surprise, that they only opened in 1995. So less than 27, less than 30 years old, and they're producing absolute corkers. And their quarter cask Cask whiskey was my whiskey of the year last year, and so I'm happy to announce that our second whiskey on this list is the Arran 10-year-old. What do we know about it? We know it's matured in refill bourbon barrels, bottled at 46%, and comes in at a very, very tasty 37 pounds. No brainer. I think it's a no brainer, you know? And wait till you hear the tasting notes. It's herbal, dried grass, quite malty, has the hints of digestive biscuits, green fruits like apples. So very, very, lovely flavor profile, quite fruity, quite malty, just mixed in all of that. And the spirit is just, and I love that it's bottled at 46%, which is fantastic. Good job, Aaron, giving us that extra 6% because we really need that in our life. So yeah, so if you don't have this whiskey and if you haven't tried it, definitely go out and buy this. Our third whiskey on this list, and maybe one of my absolute favorites, is the Ledaig 10 years old. Now, if you're wondering what I'm saying, it's spelled Ledaig. And yes, I spent many months early on in my whiskey career asking for a Ledaig. Hey, can I get a Ledaig? Anybody got a Ledaig? Until I was reprimanded by one of my seniors who said, bruh, it's Ledaig. So if you don't know, this whiskey is called the Ledaig, and I'm talking about the Ledaig 10-year-old, which is an absolute corker of a dram. I love it to bits. Could be one of my top 3 favorites in this list alone. But damn, wow. What do we know about it? We know that it's matured in first and second fill bourbon, bottled at a very weird 46.3% ABV. That's weird. What happened? 46.2 wasn't good enough. 46.4 was too much. So 46.3. Hey man, we're not complaining. It's over 46%. Go play your decimal games. I'm fine with that. Because you know what? It clocks in at a nice 40 pounds. Wow, this gorgeous spirit is available to you for 40 pounds. And what I love about it is this flavor profile. Oh, it's amazing because Ledaig or the distillery Tobermory on the Isle of Mull, which makes Ledaig, is the peated brand that they do other than Tobermory, and they get their barley, their malted barley, which is peated from the Port Ellen distillery, and then they make their spirit. So lovely flavors in here, beautifully constructed. We're talking about soft peat smoke barley. It's quite malty, nuts like walnuts, there's pine oil, the hints of iodine, dried fruit, spices, and some charred oak as well. So this is quite a complex whiskey, and it's, even if it's your first time trying whiskey, this one will really put you on edge because it has these bold flavors that come through. But it's one of my absolute favorites. I've fallen in love with it. And a quick anecdote: I was at a tasting where they were showcasing the Ledaig 42-year-old. That's right, a Ledaig 42-year-old, which was like 3,500-4,000 pounds a bottle. But when I asked for seconds, I asked for the Ledaig 10. Well, first of all, they weren't giving away seconds of the 42-year-old, but I was very happy to have the Ledaig 10 as my refill dram of the evening. So, like I said before, if you don't have this, what are you waiting for? Our next whiskey is the absolute classic, tried and tested Talisker 10 from the Isle of Skye. And my God, they've been producing this juice so beautifully for so many years that they just know how to make probably a flawless dram, and this Talisker 10 is no exception. It's matured in American oak, so first and second fill bourbon. Is bottled at 45.8% ABV. Why not 46, Talisker? But hey, we're happy with that. We can't tell the difference. We'll never know. Even if it was 46, we'd be fine with it. But look at the price. It comes in at a beautiful 43 pounds. Again, I think quite a good value for money for a 10-year-old whiskey that is guaranteed awesome flavors. What do we have in the glass? We have thick smoke, we have sweet pears, we have apples, we have a hint of salt, some seaweed, some kippers, there's black pepper, and it rounded off with some nice orchard fruit. So again, a nice fruity, complex whiskey with all this bouquet of flavors just coming out at you from the glass. So, man, this is one of the first whiskeys I had bought. It's got such a legacy behind it. It's an absolute legendary dram, and it's a no-brainer. You know, if you don't buy any of the other whiskeys, you must absolutely get your hands on the Talisker 10 if you haven't. And if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Get yourself another bottle. For those of you who know me, know I am going to go apeshit over this next whiskey. It is, of course, the Ardbeg 10. Ah, man. Such a tumultuous past with this distillery. You know, sometimes closed, sometimes open, sometimes closed. Now, finally back where it belongs, you know, at the pinnacle of the whiskey world. This Ardbeg is, you know, it just redefined everything that the distillery stood for, and it's on the basis of the Ardbeg 10 that all the other fantastic drams and expressions come out of this distillery. So, a tip of my hat to the Ardbeg 10 that I can drink, you know, a whiskey that I can drink at any point of the day. Wake me up in the morning and give me an Ardbeg 10 instead of my cappuccino, and I will be happy with that. But don't do that regularly, because you know what? Responsible drinking. Right, what do we know? We know it's a mix of first and second fill bourbon barrels, bottled at a lovely 46% ABV. But of course, again, it's the price which I think drives this whiskey. It's, you know, on an average 46 pounds. Come on, non-chill filtered, non-colored, 46 pound, 10-year-old whiskey which tastes like a dream. It tastes like a dream. Right, what do we have? We have the lovely Isla's smoke and the peat, then the mix of lemon and lime. Oh, so good. The pineapple, the vanilla, the kippers on barbecue, and a salty sea spray next to a beach smoke. How can you say no to something that exquisitely gorgeous? You know, one of my favorite drams on this list, man. I know you probably have this in your bar, and if you have less than 2 bottles, then you're an idiot. Just go and get some more, because this whiskey finishes in no time. Like, if it's on my shelf, that means I'm doing it a disservice. I'm always drinking the Ardbeg 10, as should you. This next whiskey I managed to get my hands on very, very recently, and I was extremely impressed with it. It is, of course, the Lowland Bladnoch 10-year-old, lovely new decanter type bottle, beautiful packaging, but man, it's the juice that counts, and for me, it's absolutely fantastic. Matured in ex-bourbon barrels, bottled at 46.7% ABV, and available to you for a lovely 47 pounds roughly, 46.50. Let's lock it at 46.50, and oh man, great deal, less than 50 pounds, beautiful flavors, 10 years old. What can go wrong? Right, what are we talking about? We're talking about toasted barley, honey, fennel, orange, a bit of waxiness, some cloves and peppers in there, rounded off with some ginger and cinnamon. So very, very beautifully constructed. The mouthfeel is amazing. It's very, very syrupy and nice. I believe I reviewed it. I reviewed it a few months ago, and I was very, very happy with my purchase. And oh, beautiful. I love it. You should get it. Just get it. Just get it. This whiskey, I remember when I drank it for the first time, it knocked my socks off. I was thinking, oh my God, this is the best old school Ardbeg I've ever had in my life. And it was not an Ardbeg. It was, of course, the powerful Port Charlotte 10-year-old from Bruichladdich. And this just, you know, constructed so gorgeously. I can't tell you. And I love the maturation on this one. It's 65% first fill bourbon, 10% second fill bourbon, and 25% French oak limousine casks. And it's bottled at a beautiful 50% ABV, which I love. And again, man, available for 51 pounds. This juice in this bottle is just spectacular. And at this price, oh man, I think this was a lot of people's whiskey of the year, and I think it's my whiskey of the year as well. Whatever year I had it in, it was my whiskey of the year. And just because of flavors and the balance was just phenomenal. What do we have? We had salted caramel, orange peels, bit of seaweed, custard cream, vanilla, pineapple, hint of spices, and then rounded off with an awesome oaky flavor. And so, God, love it, love it. It was so creamy, so nice. I drink it all the time, by the way. I drink it all the time. So if you don't, make a habit of it. I know I've introduced every whiskey with, oh my God, this is the best whiskey in the world. But I have to tell you, this might be the best whiskey in the world. I'm of course talking about the Lefroy 10-year-old cask strength series, not just a regular Lefroy. No. I'm talking about the cask strength series, which we are up to batch 14 now. And now we certainly, go up a bit in the price range, but I think that extra money is well worth spending. So what do we know? We know it's matured in first fill bourbon barrels. The batch 14, I believe, is bottled at 57.9% ABV. So they're not messing around, and it's available across online retailers for roughly £74. Yes, a bit high, I guess, for a 10-year-old whiskey. But remember, it's cask strength. So you know what? You're getting an extra 20%, 30% anyway. But it's the flavors. Oh, just everything good about Lefroy amped up. It's a Lefroy on steroids. That's what it is. It's just so much muscle in this whiskey. You have that beautiful medicinal smoke and that peat with that iodine. But then inside you have the red fruits, the berries, and the licorice, and then you finally round it off with some spices and a tarry undercurrent, which is just. And Lefroy is one of my favorite distilleries in the world. It's one of my favorite places to sit down and have a dram at. And the people are lovely, and everything is amazing about the distillery and this particular expression. I know people who are crazy about collecting the cask strength series, including myself, as you can see right there. Yeah, I'm crazy. I've been collecting it since batch 1, and I do not regret it for a day. So I know you can't probably get your hands on the batch 1 because sad, but the 14, the 13, and maybe even the 12 batches are available. Find them, man. Find them, drink them. Find them and drink them. Don't waste your time. Go. Stop this video now and go. Go find yourself a Lefroy cask strength series 10-year-old. You will love it. Our second last whiskey on this list is from a very, very small distillery called Benromach, and this is the 10-year-old cask strength, which they do a vintage of. So for example, you'll have a 2009 vintage from last year, which was released in 2019. Then you have, let's say, a 2010 vintage released in 2020, making it, obviously 10 years old. I like the vintage system. I think it's fun because every year, you have a new batch that's coming in. This one is a vatting of first fill bourbon and sherry cask, and then finally married in Oloroso. Bottled at a hefty 58.5% ABV and available to you for the princely sum of £80. Now, this is where you start deciding. You're like, is it worth it? Is it worth me spending £80 on this 10-year-old whiskey? Yes, I know it's cask strength, and I know the malt activist has been talking really good things about it, but should I shell out the money? To which I say, find 2 friends, split it. You will thank me later. I think that's the best way to have expensive whiskey, is to find fellow enthusiasts and split it with them. Best way. And you get to taste it. You don't even need to finish the full bottle. So that's what I would do. But the flavors on this, gorgeous. So of course, very, very sherry forward. Lots of vanilla and cooked apples, bit of waxiness. You'll find orchard fruits, lots of chocolates and raisins, and then at the end, the tiniest wisp of smoke, making this a very nice and complex, mouth-watering, chewy dram. So if you want to get it and you think £80 is too steep, find 2 other fellows. Find 2 other fellows, split a bottle, but definitely figure out a way to taste this. That's all I'm saying. And the last, but definitely not the least, is the amazing Beaumont 10 Tempest. This is one of the this is a one-off. No, when I say one-off, it's one of those that came out and it was like, oh my God, what has Beaumont done? because everything was very, very sherry driven. But then this one came out and it's matured only in first fill bourbons, and it was 10 years old. It had a nice age statement to it and just tasted so beautiful. I remember having it for the first time and I was like, hey man, because I was not a huge fan of Bowmore, but this one just really, really, cranked up the flavors that you can get from a good distillate. And yeah, pretty pricey for 140 pounds. 140 pounds is really, really pricey. I remember buying my first Tempest for about 50, 60 pounds. So of course, the world has changed for the worse for us poor folk. But it is what it is. If your wallet can allow it, and I hope it does, then get yourself a Bowmore Tempest, or like I said, split it with a bunch of friends, because you really should taste it. And so what do we have? We have barley, we have digestive biscuits, we have lime, we have lots of vanilla, a gentle peach, lemon, hints of peach as well, and a smattering of sea salt. And I remember drinking this whiskey for the first time at Bowmore, sitting by the seaside as I drank it, and you know what I'm saying. You've got the actual ocean spray hitting your face, and you're drinking this, so of course you fall in love. These are, I think, 7 out of 10 of these whiskeys are fantastic value for money. They're at roughly the 50-pound threshold, which means great flavors, good value for money, easily available, and just so drinkable. Such a good drinking experience. Of course, the last three slightly higher up in the price range, but like I said, if your wallet can allow it, or if you can split it with friends, I think it's a worthwhile investment for you to just try them. Unless you don't try it, you'll never know. So wow. So this was good. This was fun. This was cathartic almost. I'm really lucky to have tasted all these whiskeys on numerous occasions, for me to form an opinion. And so what I tell you is honest to goodness the truth. I've drunk these whiskeys. They've not let me down. They're all extremely impressive. And like I said, a vast majority of them are available at a very, very decent price point. So if you're a whiskey novice or a beginner looking to break into the world of whiskey, this is a good place to start. Find yourself a good age statement whiskey that's not heavy on the wallet, but at the same time gives you flavors that are just out of this world, as I'm sure these whiskeys will. Wow, that was fun. I'm super stoked that we got this list out to you. I hope it helps you in some way or the other. Do let me know if you buy any of these whiskeys and you taste them for the first time. I would be really interested to know what you think. And so please leave it down in the comments below. And wow, thank you for joining me for this whiskey list. I'm the Malt Activist. Until next time.